Hi, everybody. Welcome to Talk Your Model Reality. It's me, Mariah Kelly, and my girl,
Darci Clark.
And of course, we are bringing you our two perspectives of the model and acting industry to bring you some tips, tricks, and all of the things that will hopefully help you in boosting or starting or continuing your modeling career. So today it's a little bit more intimate. We want to know a little bit more about each other and just kind of tell you a little bit more about our model stories. Obviously, you're like, oh, they've got all these years of experience, but what have they done within that? And you know, our stories are maybe they collide, but like are a little bit different. Us both being mothers, us both being a part of the model coalition, and you, small plug, were actually one of my models for Fashion Honors Autism while we work with our kiddos. And so that's where I really took into a liking to you and your energy and your positivity and stuff like that. So I first want to dive into, obviously, you have My Model Reality, which is an amazing blog that you've kickstarted, and just it's been a great resource for models here in Kansas City. So let's dive into that a little bit. So first tell me about you, and then you can tell me about the blog.
So I first got into modeling when I was, I want to say 14. I just kind of fell into it. I wasn't seeking it out. It wasn't something that was really on my radar. I'm from a very small town. Modeling was not a thing you did, right? You just grew up in your small town and you stayed in your small town. But I never really had the small town mentality. I always knew that I wasn't going to stay there.
I love that.
Yeah, it just wasn't my thing. And so my mom, while I was in high school, I was very tall, very scrawny, didn't really fit in. I played sports, but I wasn't very, big, you know, I couldn't really hang with a lot of the sports. I was tall, but I wasn't strong, you know, I was scrawny. Okay. So my mom wanted to find me something for me to do, something that I would enjoy, not a sport. I didn't really care about that. So something that I was passionate about that could keep me busy. She found modeling in Kansas City, which was the big city, you know, to us. And so that's kind of how I got into it. Started with model classes and then got signed to, my very first agency was not great. So that's where a lot of my blog content comes from.
Yeah, where
those experiences. Learned a lot of lessons, a lot of hard lessons at that agency. Moved on to another, and then it's been great since then. So
I love that. And you've taken on other cities and other countries.
I have, yes.
Tell us about it.
So in college, I actually moved down to Dallas for about a little over a year, I think, and modeled there a lot. It was great. Amazing. Yeah. They have a really good market in Dallas if anyone's interested. Really great city to work in. So worked there a lot. I've done different fashion weeks all over the United States. And
I love that.
It's been amazing.
I love that. That's awesome. So, I mean, tell me a little bit about what were your goals when you got started then? What was your mission? Did you want to be?
I honestly, when I first got into it, I had no idea what I was doing. No idea what it was about. I mean, I saw Vogue magazines and I was like, oh, that looks cool, you know? But when I first started, I didn't really have a goal. It was more of just kind of a hobby that I'm going to do in addition to my sports in high school, you know, that kind of thing. But then once I started dabbling, I was like, oh, I like this. This is my thing.
Yeah,
I really
found
enjoy
your lane and kind of your purpose.
Yeah, and so I was good. Oh no, I really enjoy this. So then I started taking it a lot more seriously when I got to college and was able to kind of drive myself places. I didn't need my mom to take me. So got more seriously into it then, and that's when I was like, okay, I want more agencies. I want to be in more cities. I want to be on runways, and so then I really hit it hard.
Girl, you did hit it hard because now everybody's watching you, probably that's Darci from high school. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Those haters are still lurking.
So I love that you share that with me. You know, everybody kind of envisions modeling as probably some superficial path that you take it to the top and you become this big star and move away, but you're still pretty close to home.
Yeah.
And you live a normal life outside of modeling.
I do. Yeah. And I mean, I could have, when I was younger, gone to the New York or bigger cities, but I dabbled a little and I didn't quite love it. It was a lot different than here. Wow. And so, I did it for a while and then I was like, all right, I'm ready to be a little closer to home, be a little closer to family. And so this is my home base. I mean, I still travel from here to other places to do other jobs, but.
And you've even like taken on some other roles now that you have so much experience as far as like, I mean, we both mentor. So mentoring is one of your biggest kind of, in my eyes, like accolades. You know, people look up to you here as a result of you taking your career seriously. And
and that has been huge for me, just because I remember when I was first getting started, my mom and I had zero idea what we were doing, right? No idea what we were getting into, where to start. We had no one to really even talk to about it either. So I feel like some of the mistakes that we made, some of the, things that I fell into could have been avoided had I had somebody to talk to about it or to help guide me through it. So now that I've kind of been through the trenches, I'm in a position where I feel like I can help other models avoid those situations and kind of help guide them a little bit and help them start off on a better foot. Just because, I made it through, right? But some models don't. Like some have a really
maybe more
scary,
traumatic.
Traumatic, scary, sad story. Luckily I didn't. So if I can help models avoid that, that's like my biggest thing. So
I love that.
That's kind of where my blog came from. I write about my experiences that I've had, and then kind of how to stay away from certain things, what you should do in different situations. And then now my model coaching, and my in-person mentoring through the model board has kind of grown from that as well.
That's amazing, girl.
Yeah.
You're a rock star.
Trying.
I love that.
How about you? How did you get to be where you are today?
That's where I am today. So actually my mother was a mom agent with an agency here in Kansas City. She actually grew up as the first Miss Black Topeka, Kansas.
Oh, what?
So she had a pageant world before being a mom agent at this agency.
That's cool.
And I was too, taking classes and courses and just getting training on everything, like posture and the whole nine, because I had told my mom, well, I was 12 and I said, next year when I'm 13, can I be like Tyra Banks? And she was like, why not?
Yeah,
like,
why can't you? Of course.
She wanted me to do pageantry, but I kind of did a little shift and I was just like, I want to be on television. I want to be in commercials. Like I want to be on the runway.
Yep.
And so a lot of my time I focused and thought that Victoria's Secret modeling was the only way.
Oh yeah.
And then I saw CoverGirl.
Yeah.
They were like the thing.
That was the goal.
Late 90s, like then. That was it. You know, you made it if you got your angel wings, right? But I started to realize eventually after more experience and then kind of even, not modeling so much there in middle school and in high school, it was when I got to college that I was like, whoa, like the industry is completely different now. Yeah. You don't have to be a triple threat to be successful. Dance, sing, act, and all those things like it used to be, And so I kind of made a shift and I thought, okay, maybe I don't want to just do this as a hobby, but maybe I don't also want to just fly off to New York and LA and miss out on certain things in life. Yeah. So I made it my mission to do my research about what it meant to be a model here in Kansas City and eventually gain representation. And I did a little trade here and there. I did a lot of free shows and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game.
It's a part of the game.
Yeah.
But when things really changed up for me is when I became a signed model. And then I kind of keyed into a little bit more like, what is acting? Like, what's here as far as the commercial world? And that's when I decided to be a union actress and, join SAG-AFTRA. And I love that.
What is the difference between being in the union and not?
Yeah, that's a good question, girl. Because a lot of times people don't understand like why, superstars have SAG-AFTRA behind their name or their IMDb says that.
Yeah.
It's actually just a union where you are protected by certain laws and bylaws so that your time and money and energy are protected. They, have all of these different resources for you from 401ks and like savings and life insurance and health insurance and all these things.
Wow. Okay.
For those people that are like, I always envision somebody in LA who's like hustling and hitting the pavement and like doing all these different castings and things like that. They just have certain stipulations to protect the actor.
That's
and
awesome.
It's really nice. But you won't find a big name celebrity without their SAG-AFTRA status or them being a union actor. So that meant a big deal, a lot for me. And it kind of separated me from like a lot of the work that's here in Kansas City, because a lot of the bigger projects are commercials that require a union actor.
Okay.
So that is when I really took it to the
like
next level.
Certified.
Oh, I'm certified.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
yes.
are.
I love it though. And you pay your dues. So there was, a little bit to get into that. Financially, there was a little bit of a commitment, but when I tapped into that, I was able to do big projects like the Sprint commercial. I did, oh my gosh, like AMC commercials.
That's awesome.
I've done some bank commercials in Nebraska.
I've seen you killing it.
Thanks, girl.
I see you on that TV.
The healthcare commercials are always fun. And, I never envisioned myself just being able to do all of these different things. I always thought, okay, I'm just going to do runway and that was it. But when I got out of college and realized, oh my gosh, like there's more money to be had and more opportunities to be had right here, I was like, okay, I'm going to be the best here, or I'm going to do my best to be the best. And so I created Talk Your Walk with the goal in mind that, yes, I did not have a roadmap, but you can have different lanes and different journeys to get to where you're going. And if your goal does change, it's okay.
Yeah.
You just have to utilize networking and different resources and, put yourself out there to be successful.
Yeah, evolve with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like evolve with the changes. I did have a couple of shifts where I was like, I'm just doing runway, and I would just do that for a while. And then I was like, well, I don't want to do runway anymore because it wasn't having the return on investment. And so I was like, oh, now I'm just focused on commercials. And you can do that. Like you can make your journey yours. And for you, it was kind of like, hey, let me get out of this small town and take the reins on something that I could be really good at. And for me, it was like, you don't have to just follow the path of what your mom did or just be like Tyra Banks. You can evolve as your own human and love your body and love the skin that you're in and make yourself profitable based off of the things that you believe and that you love to do.
Yeah.
So talk your walk. It's really about like following a journey that belongs to you and figuring out what that journey is.
Yeah,
so,
I love that.
Thanks, girl. I appreciate it. Love it. Yeah. So we can dive into a little bit more about your experience as a model, if you don't mind. So I'm going to kind of tap into what is a day in the life of Darci as a model, because we know you're a mom and we know you have another job, but I want to hear your model life and your give us the whole fireworks show. All right.
I always like to joke that I live two lives because my regular life is very different than my model life. Right?
Of course, yeah.
But if I have a booking that day, whether it be like a shoot or a runway show, I mean, just the prep starts way before.
Of course.
Like you don't just wake up, you don't roll out of bed and
show up on the scene.
Yeah. So if it's a show, I've already been practicing. I practice all the time for with my walk and all that stuff. Just kind of taking care of my skin, taking care of my body. So that way, the morning of the booking, I know that I'm pretty much ready to go. Yeah. But the night before, I'm packing my model bag with literally anything and everything that I might possibly need that day, whether I use it or not. It's in my bag, ready to go. I know it's good to go. Everything's set. I get up. I always like to just get my body moving, do a little bit of a workout, just get myself up and ready for the day. And then I'm taking care of my skin. I'm doing a little face mask and a little eye mask, for as long as I can until I need to go to my booking. So then, but I mean, face is natural, hair is natural. They always do you up when you get there. So that part's nice.
Your skin is flawless, so I'm sure you don't have to do much.
I mean, like I said, I'm always working on the skin, the hair, all that. Just always taking care of yourself so that way when those bookings come through, you're like, I'm ready.
Yep, that's how you do it.
Yep.
Absolutely. So do you find yourself having busybody days where you're having to be super mom, super wife, and juggle the job while having a casting or a booking?
Yes. Yeah. So it's really tough sometimes because I do have a young son who is in daycare. So kind of trying to coordinate, they're only open certain hours of the day. Right. Yeah. So sometimes my call times might be 6 a.m. and the daycare's not open yet.
Yes.
So then I'm trying to coordinate, okay, so who can get my son there? If my husband's working, okay, well, who's my plan B? Hey, sis, what are you doing at 6 a.m. this morning?
Yeah.
Can you please take him to preschool?
Yeah.
Same with kind of the end of the day.
So honestly, I've been in the same boat as far as trying to figure out where the kid goes and all of those things. And it's a job on top of a job on top of a
is.
job. But, you know, thank God for a great tribe. And to anybody
Yes.
that's a mom or a parent or a single parent or a married parent with a kiddo in this industry, as long as you've got support, anything is possible. You can do anything.
You can do it.
Have you done any bookings with your kiddo yet?
I haven't with him yet.
Yeah.
It's my goal to hopefully nail one of those like mother-son things.
Yeah.
But actually, when he was 6 weeks old, through my agency, he booked his first booking at 6 weeks old.
Oh my gosh.
For like a Hallmark
I love that.
card thing. Yeah. So like,
so
kind
I
of get
just
him
signed,
into it when I can.
and I just signed my daughter as well. So I'm hoping that
Yeah,
she
like,
gets
isn't
something
that-
like real soon and
Yeah.
gets her first model check and everything.
Like, yeah, so it's fun. You kind of make it a family affair.
Yeah.
Like my agents, they know my family. You know, it's like just because they know that that's part of my life outside of modeling,
Absolutely.
and that drastically influences what I can and can't do.
Yeah.
In terms of jobs.
Yeah, same with me. You know, they're very respectful. My agents are very respectful of my schedule and understanding that like it's just me. And a lot of the times, you know, I do have to kind of, I have in the past had to say, I can't do this at this point in time. I'm going to have to pass on this, or I miss this casting because my kid is, you know, my kid is sick or something like that. I wanted to do this audition, but I couldn't self-tape because construction
Chaos.
in the house
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, life happens and you just kind of keep going. And I've had days where I too am waking up super early, but there's like some type of adrenaline rush that you get knowing that you have a day of cameras and makeup and clothing changes and all that fun stuff. And for me, the on-camera life is a very long process. It's a little bit of like hurry up and wait. And I'm like thinking about my daughter and thinking about what I need to do later, but I always bring my laptop and, you know, I just try to be
some extra work.
ready and like productive for whatever the day is gonna throw at me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, you know, like in the modeling and acting world, like, I mean, stuff happens, whether like good, bad, not fantastic at all. And you're kind of put in weird situations sometimes. What is your most embarrassing moment that has happened to you either on like acting or modeling, either one? What is your most embarrassing moment?
Okay, I got a good one. And it just popped into my head. So I have a friend that lives in another city, but frequents Kansas City because they're also signed here.
Oh, nice.
So they're just in driving distance. And this particular guy was playing my husband, and we had a whole family. Never met him, right?
Right.
So of course I'm like, oh, you know, what are we supposed to do on camera? So I added him on the night before, just so things would be a little bit
nice.
less
Like an
awkward.
introduction before.
Saying like, hey, I just you know want to respectfully be like, hey, this is who I am. You know, I'm excited to work with you tomorrow. Have you gotten a script? Or, you know, just talk about like the set and stuff like that. So I get there and there's great chemistry. The family, so the parents of the kids are there. Everything is really, really kosher. But a lot of the producers don't know directly about casting. They don't know about who you are.
No.
So this is a filming for a flotation device where the kids get to jump off of it and you can sit on it while they're jumping. It's just a huge flotation device. And there was a specific scene where I had to be on with this guy by myself. And
so were you in the water?
Yeah, we're in the water in our little swimsuits. So it was kind of like a little bit intimidating because this is my first time. Like,
and he has to play your husband, and you're in.
And he has to be my husband. Swimmer. And the guy goes, "What's your name? And what's your name?" Okay, yes, okay, I got it. Can you guys have some interaction and chemistry? Well, you better act. When the director says like, get it, bring it, like you better bring it.
Yeah.
Well, he's like calling me honey and like babe. And it at first I was like, ha ha ha, like this is for the part.
Yeah.
But then he like kind of kept it going. And so I was like, well, I'm going to keep it going. He's attractive. Like I'm just going to keep going with the flow.
Keep roll going.
And then we got into the groove so much and so comfortable with each other that, you know, it was kind of like, honey, do you want more to drink?
Okay, yeah.
And like, honey, you look great. And it wasn't any sort of level of like harassment. It didn't feel awkward, but it was just like a moment where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm really being put out of my comfort zone so that we can make this look real. Well, the director's like, cut. How long have you guys been married? You guys are incredible. Like, this is hilarious. And I'm like,
awkward.
Oh, like, now it's awkward. That's not my man. I just met him 2 hours ago, like hair and makeup. Like, it was really, you know, a little bit embarrassing for me because I did
like,
play into it too much. And I
yeah,
guess
like, so they probably were like, oh my God, she's flirting with this
yeah,
guy.
yeah. Like, oh, you guys, and I might have had like a fake ring on or something, or maybe, I don't know. But us both being single
I mean,
people,
you sold the role.
we sold it. We did what we were supposed to do. And it looked really good later. You know, the laughing and the chemistry and stuff like that, it was there. But it was definitely embarrassing because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, did I play into that a little bit too much? Like, I don't know. Like,
no.
Yeah.
No.
So anytime there's
understood the assignment.
We understood the assignment. Thank you. But anytime there's like a kind of counterpart male role, I find myself wanting to be like, all right, don't be too wifey. Be wifey, not too wifey.
Don't sell this.
Yeah. Same thing with Hallmark, you know, Valentine's Day. They want you to be all cuddly with a stranger.
Most of the time it's not anyone you know.
Yeah. So I fortunately have had you know, great relationships with the guy that I had at the floating shoot, and then the Valentine's Day Hallmark one. Everything's been very copacetic and no longer awkward for me. So
Good.
I know I have 2 qualified on-camera husbands that I can be extra with and it not be awkward. Pretty much. I understood the assignment. But yeah, that's it.
That's funny.
What about you? Any funny stories or moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened?
Yeah, probably my most embarrassing moment. I wish it was as nice as yours. I was booked for a runway show, and it was men and women that were booked for the show. So, you know, it was just for a designer that showed both. And so we were all backstage. We're all in our garments, like basically just lined up waiting for our turn to go, right? So we're all just standing there. We're chatting because, I mean, people were still trying to sit down and stuff. So we're all just hanging out, just chatting. And we're all just kind of standing around in a circle. And I was wearing this dress and I loved it. It fit really well. Good. But it had this, it like kind of came around the neck and then came down like this, right?
Oh, okay.
And
that's
so, like,
interesting.
Yeah, like totally fine though. It fit really well.
Okay.
I did have to keep pulling it up a little bit because it did have a tendency to slide down a little bit.
Oh, right.
But it was never like
it wasn't, the garment wasn't made for your body.
Yeah,
so it's
it was
not
like a little
you
longer here than like what I am. But like, I mean, I felt comfortable in it. You know, just like I pulled it up and I felt like it was fine. So we were all talking, and like I said, it's a mixture of men and women. We're all chatting, and I don't remember what I was talking about, but a model said something, and I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. And then I said something else. I was like, about like a funny situation, and one of the other male models was like, you know, it's also really funny. Your boobs are out.
No.
My top, while we had been talking, because like I'm a hand talker.
Oh yeah.
I move.
Yeah,
right?
me and you both. We're like,
yeah,
blah, blah,
so
blah,
I'm
like
moving and talking and laughing. Apparently my dress had slipped. And I didn't notice. Literally, my boobs were out.
Yep. Well, there you go.
And a circle of people talking, and no one had said anything. Like, come
fan.
on, girls! Like, standing next to me, like you didn't be like.
Girls are supposed to look out for each other.
Yes, just be like, you know, hey, you know, just do a little adjustment here. Like if you see it starting to slip. No, it had slipped all the way. No one said anything.
I am so sorry.
Boobs were out. It was great.
I'm so sorry.
And he's just like, yeah, your boobs are out. I'm like,
you know what? Everybody.
Great. This is awesome.
Everybody in their professional career in some shape or form has had a little slip.
Well, and I mean, a lot of times, like for runway shows, like the men and women are all changing in the same area anyways. Yeah. They all probably saw my boobs at some point anyway, but just the fact that they were there and nobody said anything. And like, I was just like, let me go die now. Thank you.
we do kind of get desensitized, especially as mothers, but we get a little desensitized, like changing in front of other people.
Yes.
At some point you're like, hey girl, so this is what happened. But you wish you would have known like, while standing in front of the guys.
Like, could somebody like not just give me like, you know, I don't know these people either.
Help your co-partners
like
out.
Look out for each other. Like, hey girl.
Yeah.
Fix your top.
Absolutely.
No. So but one of the guys kindly let me know that my boobs were out.
My goodness. Well, everybody has some sort of shape or form, especially with us having this many years of experience.
Yes.
Like, at some point, you're going to run into something awkward, and you either own it or
I just pulled up, and we just
don't let it crush you.
We just continued on, like they didn't all just get both my boobs in their face. It's fine.
That's fine. It's totally fine. So has a client or a casting director ever said anything crazy to you before?
Oh, yes. I mean, I've heard it all. Like in the same day, like if I have multiple castings in a day, which is, you know, not unusual. I've heard from one that, okay, for this, you're too skinny. Like, no. So then, but then the other one will be like, oh, you're too fat. No. So I've heard both literally within hours,
really
same day.
Yeah.
But the craziest thing that anyone has ever said to me was a former agent, and thankfully this agency is no longer in business. So the agent said to me during one of our kind of check-in meetings, he's like, you know, and I'm young, mind you, at this point. I'm probably maybe 17, 18 years old. So I'm young, and I probably like had just hit puberty, you know, like I'm just like, I'm a kid.
Yeah.
My agent looks at me and he says, you know, you're starting to look like you're gaining a little weight. I really think you should take up something like smoking or cocaine. That will really help keep you skinny.
What?
Excuse me?
Excuse me?
And I was like, cocaine? He's like, yeah. He's like, it's a good appetite suppressant. It'll help keep you skinny.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh, okay. I'll just, you know, let me make a note of that. I was
like, were you at an age where you could go back to your mom and be like, by the way?
Well, yeah. I mean, I called her. Like, she wasn't with me.
Yeah.
Like during this
but
meeting.
You called her and
but
was
yeah, like as soon as I got to the car, I called her. I was like, guess what you just said?
Yeah.
But of course, like, obviously, I'm a little goody two shoes. I don't do any of that. Like it didn't even cross my mind. But can you imagine, like, I mean, some models do turn to that. So like that is very dangerous.
That's why it's so important to have strong, good representation.
Yes.
Have your standards set in your mind of what you will not settle for and get into because people.
And if an agent is saying that to you, that is crazy.
So I actually had a very similar experience. I went to a major talent conference and I was, I think, 15. Maybe turning 16.
So baby.
And I was a baby as well. And someone said, beautiful skin, great hair, all these things. But you should eat more fish to like eliminate the double chin, whatever action. And I just looked at my mom and she was like, like, not here, not now, you know, because little Mariah was feisty. Like I could,
I wish I was spicy in that moment. I was just like, let me just write that down in my notebook.
it took me a minute to build that kind of spine. Growing up younger, you know, I wasn't very vocal, but you know, I had a moment where I was like, and he was actually like a very high profile agent. So hearing that, it crumbled me, and I actually did stop modeling from ages 15 to like
from
20,
that moment,
22,
because
21.
of that moment.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He took away a lot of years from my self-esteem because, you know, I was also stick and slender and was like within that time of me going to New York, I kind of developed some hips a little bit.
Because you're growing up?
Yeah. I was maturing. A natural thing that happens.
God forbid.
Yeah. God forbid I hit puberty and get curvaceous. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it was really a hard moment for me.
Yeah.
But I learned from it, and thank God that the industry has changed and the beauty standards have changed.
Yeah,
because,
thank God.
I don't want my daughter to ever experience someone telling her what she should or shouldn't look like.
No.
You know, and then hopefully, you know, we continue to love our bodies, and no matter what anybody says or whatever happens in motherhood or life, that we can continue to love our bodies for what they are and not let anybody else define us for that.
Yeah.
And never gravel to a level where we want someone's opinion of us.
No,
like
especially something like something like that. It's like, okay, what is that worth to me? Nothing. Like those comments are just crazy.
Yeah. And it's a work in progress to like eliminate those things from your mind.
Oh yeah.
You know, because you hear no. Like how many times do you hear no?
I hear no way more than I hear yes.
Yeah.
Way more.
And that's
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And imagine if you just let like 3 no's stop you when 4 yeses are around the corner.
I would have never made it to the point I'm at today if I let that bother. Like, you know, and it did. It was hard when you're that young hearing stuff like that. It's hard.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think if we were to like come to a mutual ground on that is, you know, no matter what age you are and when you start modeling, know that, you know, the opinion of other people should not shape and define you to an extent where you stop or you gravel or you become depressed or you become upset or you do extreme changes to yourself.
No.
Yeah. We shouldn't get to that point for sure.
Mm-mm.
But I will say, you know, I have truly enjoyed my journey and my walk, and you know, having supported people like relationships like with you, as well as, you know, we both are a part of the Model Board Coalition.
Yeah.
Having a mentor and someone who is spearheading that, like Noelle, We love Noelle.
Yes,
Noelle, if you're
love you.
watching this, we love you. So yeah, just having someone that is a supportive guidance. I always am preaching mentorship. I am always talking about the importance of having someone to love and, guide you and support you and be a soundboard or, a second eye to things like contracts or your portfolio. Lifesaver. Yeah. Lifesaver.
Well, a lot of people will have the misconception that models are like really catty and mean to each other. I mean, you do get those sour apples every once in a while,
But not everybody in the industry is like that.
No, and some of your best friends are going to be models that you work with because they truly understand what you're also going through. Yeah. So having somebody that you can call and be like, oh my God, at this casting, you would never believe what happened, and they can just kind of relate to you and know. Because like some of my friends outside of modeling they don't get it. They don't get it. They're like, you get to dress up and take pictures all the time. What's so hard about that? It's like,
it's not that easy.
No, it's not.
It's not. So you have to build yourself up to go out, do the casting, do the audition,
do all the work behind the scenes.
Since COVID, we've been self-taping.
Even as a model, I don't even do acting stuff, but even as a model, like strictly just a model, I'm getting asked to do slates and things like that on camera all the time. All self-tapes.
Does everybody know what a slate is? We'll do a slate for you in another episode, just in case, We'll give you all the model tips for sure. So I love that you are willing to sit down with me and go through all of these things because I don't think that enough people are hearing it. You know, your blog has specifically set out the top questions that people ask us, but it also gives a navigation or a ground rule, like to allow people to say like, oh, I should probably not do this or I should probably do more of this.
Here's a little red flag to look out for.
Yeah. So I love that we have established like this connection to be able to come together and just talk through some of these things.
Yeah, I love it. So we've covered some like of our kind of embarrassing moments and not so great things. But as a model and actress, what has been one of your favorite experiences in your career so far?
I love that question. Okay, so one of my first union jobs, actually it was my second union project, allowed me to meet Dave, the guy that used to be with Verizon and then came over to Sprint.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? Yes.
He actually was one of the most authentic and kind and altruistic people I have ever met. And I haven't been to Hollywood yet or Atlanta or any of these major markets for acting. But what he did was so phenomenal. They kept flipping the script on me. They kept changing up a couple of the things to make it make sense. And, seeing us, writing it on paper is different than actually seeing it in studio. And so we were kind of, I think he noticed that I got a little bit frazzled.
Well, yeah, that would be stressful.
One being my first speaking role in a union commercial. And I was, being given, being fed the lines off camera multiple times, and he wasn't in it, but he decided to stay and hang out a little bit. And he said to me, take all those things that you're going through right now, flush them out. He's like, what is it that you're thinking of? And I said, my daughter, she at the time was 2.5, turning 3. And I said, I'm just thinking about making sure that this is right for her and doing right for her. And he was like, she's so proud of you. She loves you. Don't worry about it. Now flush all of those worries out, clear your mind, and be who you are. And I was like, who I am? And he's like, they casted you for a reason. Like, they chose you for a reason to be here today. Be that person. And I was just like, this is such a beautiful moment.
Yeah, that's really cool that he even took the time out of his day
he
to even
gotten cut.
Yeah,
and
he could have been
left,
all right, I'm done. Bye.
Packed up and got on his flight, but he didn't. And he stayed and hung out with me. And there was another two talent people, but I was the Sprint store sales rep.
Okay, so you're one of the main.
Yeah, so I had a lead, speaking part, and I just remember thinking, like, gosh, like, what if I bomb this?
Well, yeah, that's a major
over
role.
and over and over, and they'd already been going into overtime, not because of me, but like some other things
but you
that
don't
were
want.
happening.
Yeah, you would just kind of internalize that and blame it on yourself.
Yeah. I was kind of hard on myself.
Yeah.
now that I think back, I'm like, I was kind of being a little.
Like I was fine.
Yeah. But everybody on the cast and crew was just so kind and welcoming, and they were like, "We are throwing you curveballs, girl," and you were like working with it, but. Specifically, he could see on my face, Dave could see on my face that I was getting like irritable,
Yeah.
maybe a little tired. I mean, we were on the Sprint campus for over 8 hours that day.
Man, yeah.
So I was getting to a point where I was just like, kind of like, wiggling
let's
a
go.
little bit.
Yeah.
And just his kindness
That's
his words
amazing.
were just like really eye-opening for me. And I think about that every time I have to go on camera and have a speaking role. I think about how he was just patient with me and kind. And I was like, I want to do that for somebody else now. Like, I want to mentor and love on someone else who, doesn't really have that like confidence to maybe jump on camera and say whatever, or, are being tough on themselves. So
yeah. I love that. That's really cool.
Thanks. What about you? What's a good experience that you've had? I know you've taken a couple flights and been on a couple runways and been in some magazines. So like, what's your
I want to say, memory? So when I kind of have two moments that were like big, like good moments for me, like that stand out above others. When I was younger, you're kind of in like, okay, yeah, like I'm modeling, I'm doing this, right? Like whatever. But I was still in college. So this was like prior to me having agencies outside of the local area and like really starting to travel. And so I was kind of like, okay, like, I mean, I'm doing it, but like, I don't feel like I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So
you're in there, but just not as far.
Yeah,
as
like I'm not like at the level that I really want to be. And I did not know this, but PacSun, the store, the clothing store PacSun, right? Yeah. So I had no idea that they actually were based here they had a warehouse based here in Kansas City for the longest time. Really? And I didn't know that, but that was like a store I shopped at. I really liked them. And so I actually got a booking request for them, like through my agency. They're like, hey, are you available this date? PacSun would like to book you for a shoot. And I was like the store PacSun? She's like, yes, like, do you want it or not? Like, yes, PacSun.
Yes.
So I was like, oh my God, yes. And so I did. And they actually booked me recurring, like over and over and over again. And so I remember the first time just pulling up the PacSun website just to shop or whatever and seeing. It's funny because it was basically just me from here down. Like my actual face wasn't in it because it was closed. But still, I was plastered like my body was all over their website.
Oh my gosh.
And like that's a national, that's sold all over the world.
Yeah.
So like that was my first moment of like, oh, hey, that's me. Like I did something.
You did that.
Yeah, like I did something.
That.
So I was like so that's why it stands out to me because that was my first moment of like, okay, I'm doing this. Like,
well, I love that you had all of that exposure and that was your kind of jumping point.
Yes.
When you hit your jumping point, it's like the adrenaline from it is like, I'm going to do
this.
This.
Oh, I finally did it.
This
like,
is where I belong.
Yeah. Like all this work and just doing all these kind of like cool, but like mundane kind of things. Like, oh, like I'm on a international website. Well, like that's cool.
My first commercial was not as glamorous. I was wearing braces and it's an orthodontist here called Dr. Fry.
Oh, yes. I know Dr. Fry.
So the Fry family had me in their commercial and I kid you not, don't blink or you will miss me because all I did was this. And it was gone.
But girl, you made it.
I made it. My friends were like, taking pictures of their TV. Like, is this you? Like, were you in this? And I was like, yes, that was me.
Yes.
Every 2 seconds, 0.25 seconds that I was in there. And I was just so proud of it. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, I know that feeling so well.
Yeah.
And I just hope that everybody can kind of experience a positive, like, first.
Yeah, like when you finally reach a milestone or, like something in your career where you're like, oh, yes, I finally made it. This is why I've been working so hard and just continue that feeling.
Yeah, for sure. So with that being said, I've really enjoyed our time together. We have so many kind of common grounds from being a part of the Model Coalition, having been in multiple fashion shows here in Kansas City, side by side, or supporting one another from the audience or whatever, as well as Fashion Honors Autism. Like our worlds just merge, and I'm just so supportive and thankful for you to like take your time to, co-host with me and help spread the word about, tapping into the model industry. And, they're going to get more of us for sure.
Yes. Can't stop us.
Thank you guys for joining us. We are so grateful for this experience, and we hope that you guys continue to watch more episodes. Any comments or ideas that you may have had about our specific stories, feel free to reach out to us on our platforms, Talk Your Walk and
My Model Reality.
Thanks for joining Talk Your Model Reality.
Thank you.